So guys, it's been over 2 weeks. It's day 15, day 16, 17. I'm actually recording this voiceover on day 18. In fact, it just switched over to day 18 about an hour ago. Before I get started though guys, make sure to come check out my Discord server. Link is in the video description down below. And let's get started. Sorry about the confusion over the accumulated days. So the daily refresh happens for me at 7 PM my time, and what happens is sometimes I do my recordings in the afternoon, which will coincide with the previous day. But if I don't get enough time in the particular afternoon to sort of do my recording, then I have to do it later on in the night, which usually means past the refresh. So sometimes my voiceover recordings don't actually sync up with my video recording, because the video recording portion is a little bit easier to get done, so I tend to do those on the night of the refresh as new content drops. So I'm sorry if this is very confusing to some of you who's been keeping watch on the daily counter and whatnot, but I assure you that I haven't been doing anything dodgy, going in and changing my daily counter thing more than once per day. I am going to probably keep the counter going for as long as I can, so I don't think it would make sense if I was rigging my own counter. But yeah, I hope you guys take my word on this, and I guess that's all there is to it. I guess I can show you guys my characters obtained, and also you can take a look at like the amount of orbs I've accumulated, and then you can base your own judgments off that. But yeah, that's all I've got guys. I don't know how else to prove this stuff. But anyways, moving on to the main topic now for the I guess it's more of a 3-day report, because I haven't actually done any day 18 stuff. As I said, it only went past like an hour ago, so I haven't really done anything yet. I heard that there is a new banner out. Well, I've logged in the game to like pick up the orbs and also to change my name, but I haven't actually checked out the new banner that dropped, so I'm not quite sure what that's all about. But I'm guessing right after recording this voice clip, I'm going to go in and record footage for that, so you guys will see that in the next video, no doubt. So what have I been doing, day 15, 16, 17 then? Well, that's interesting. Well, not too much actually. Ever since I stopped spending on this game to buy orbs, the game has slowed down quite significantly for me. I noticed that recently there has been a slowdown in game content. I mean, I know we have the tap dancing happening, and I know we have the banner changes, and also stuff like units that are on my to build list to complete. Yeah, I know that there's all that stuff going on, but the truth is, the game really seems to be lacking in a mode where I can just invest my stamina into grinding for loot. Like, not even just grinding quests, but as in like grinding for meaningful loot. So I hope that IS, in the long term sort of decides to fix this with a solution that's here to stay or something, and not just present us with new content in the form of periodic map updates or just new quests and stuff like that to make us do existing maps. An idea that I've sort of had in my head for a while now, that I hope sees the light of day one day, is what if there is a randomly generated map layout chain challenge mode that, depending on the difficulty, it scales the randomly generated enemy units on said maps, differently. And also, and here's the kicker, is they could have treasure chests on specific grids on the map that you would have to lead your team out of the way to actually go and get. So it's not a quest, it's not kill X amount of guys, but it's all about your positioning and maybe going to that specific spot to get that treasure chest would incorporate a certain level of risk involved. And in terms of the contents for the treasure chest, well, they can scale with the difficulty level. You gotta make it interesting, you gotta make people want to grind this stuff. So gems, badges, that sort of nonsense is obviously going to be part of it. But let's say the reward for those randomly generated chests could be as high as 1 orb. That would be such a big incentive, especially to a lot of non-paying players in this game. Like, any opportunity to get orbs is just insanely valuable to people. And I know that other gacha games or just grindy games, I mean, like I said, I've been recently playing Monster Super League quite a bit more. In that game, you can actually grind up currency used to summon monsters. I mean, the summoning rates are kinda shit, but the fact remains that if you were dedicated enough and you spend enough time, you could, you know, grind enough resources to do a summon if you so choose to, you know? So I think that is an area perhaps IS could look into. I mean, obviously they would have to balance it out so that people could not be grinding excess amounts of orbs. But just having it there as an extra go-to mode for people who are bored, like I am, you know, who want to take a little bit of a break from SP grinding, or have no interest in hero merit grinding, or just have already done the arena and really don't care to sort of dive deeper because you know how the arena works, right? Like the point system, it basically punishes you for using 4 units that you like. You can only have a core team of 3 units. Every season you are forced into picking this one kid who you do not want on your team. Well, sometimes you do, but most times you do not want that guy on your team. But you have to have him in because he's the teacher's pet. Like, there's no way around it. And at this point, if they change the arena system anymore, people would be furious. So I'm not really saying, you know, change the arena stuff or whatever like that. I'm simply saying I'm not a fan of it. So that's why I tend to, you know, it's not too important for me. As long as I stay in the tiers that give 4 orbs, that's good enough. But yeah, like the drought of content, the waiting time between new banners, new events, new voting gauntlets, grand conquest, which, let's face it, is sort of boring in some aspects. Either boring or take up too much time, one of the two. Rival domains was not, I want to say, not too well put together. I definitely feel like they could have done a little bit more with, you know, such a big map layout. Maybe incorporate some sort of lore into it as opposed to just having a sort of all-out teleporting battle. I mean, with such a huge map, events can be happening throughout the battlefield, and I don't know, I just feel like it opens up a lot of opportunity for storytelling. But IS just took the route of teleporting battles and just said, hey, you know, you guys wanted mass amounts of units, battling mass amounts of units, well, here you go. This is the mode. Here's what you asked for. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough, but in a, you know, slightly more polished method would have been a little bit better. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, you know what? It has been over 2 weeks now, closing in on 3 weeks. Remember, 21 days is where it's 3 weeks. So it's been a moderate amount of time since I've not spent money on this game, and it is at these moments in time where, you know, my brain kind of like justifies everything for me in terms of spending. Like, it's been long enough that I don't really remember firsthand. Well, it was firsthand, but I just don't remember as well as back when it happened, you know, the regret of wailing. So my brain now tries to justify to me that, hey, you know, it wasn't all that bad, it's in the past, and you spent it on entertainment, and you spent it on doing what you liked. It was justified. It tries to tell me that I shouldn't feel too bad about it, that it's okay to do it again, and that just this time be mindful of how much I spend, and just ease into it slowly. This is actually a trap, because once I actually step back into spending, I know that the adrenaline rush and the heat of the moment sort of just when you go into a long summoning session with like 100 or 200 orbs and you don't get what you want, your mood starts to sort of get worse and worse, and at a certain point your emotions, or my emotions, kind of just overrun the logic. Like, it doesn't matter now, it doesn't matter how much money I have left. It's not cutting into bills or anything like that, but no, it's still a large amount of money being wasted, so it's still a problem. I think I mentioned this previously on a video before, that when you're whaling, things can only end badly. Very rarely do they end well, and even when they end well, you can still view them in a negative way. So let's say you spend 400 orbs and you don't get anything. Well, how are you gonna feel bad? Well, that's pretty obvious, right? That's a very obvious scenario there. But let's pick another one. Let's say you spend 400 orbs, you only get 2 focus units and 2 pity breakers. You're not gonna be happy because you haven't met the average of how many 5 stars you were expecting to get. Now let's say you spend 400 orbs and you did summon, I think it averages out to about 1 5-star per 50 orbs for me. I think for most people it averages to about 1 5-star per every 70 orbs. But I'm just gonna do 50 because it's easier on math. So 400 orbs would be averaging to about 1 in every 50 orbs, so 8 5-stars in total. Alright, so at that point, if I gotten 8 5-stars in my 400 orbs that I've spent, I would still probably feel bad because there's other things that could factor into it, like poor IVs. Like, what if I get minus speed on 4 iterations of the same character that I was looking to get with a speed boon, but instead I got a minus speed? And remember, they don't all show up at once, they show up one at a time, so the stress builds up over time. You don't get the instant stress like at the finish line, you get the built up stress from, you know, the very beginning throughout that, I want to say 2-hour journey, because I usually make a recording when I'm doing things like that, so it takes me 2 hours. But if you're just sitting there doing the summons alone, 400 orbs would probably take you like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on if you want to skip everything. So yeah, the stress, it builds up over time, so you have the possibility of getting bad IVs there, and also the stress of dealing with pity breakers and also not having the right colored orb show up. On top of all that, if you do get the 5-star that you were looking for, usually you only get the one that you're looking for. And if you're looking to IV snipe, which I was back then, which is insane, I know, like, don't ever do this, guys, but anyways, I was, against my own better judgment, I was trying to do that. And I guess I would only be happy if I got the one unit with the perfect IVs that I was wanting. In that situation, it's very hard to come out happy, even when you do come out with that perfect IV unit that you wanted, with the perfect IVs and all that stuff. Look back on how much orbs you have spent on a phone game, and that hits you like a brick. Well, actually, it's more like a truck loaded with bricks. But then I guess the bricks wouldn't be doing the hitting, it would be the truck. Let's say the brick loaded truck stopped just shy of hitting you, and then all the bricks, because of momentum, they shift forward and hit you. Yeah, that's how much it hurts. So it really hurts when you come to a realization of, oh my god, what have I just done? And what you have just done is you have pulled out a knife and you have stabbed your wallet deep. Alright guys, believe it or not, I've actually done 30 minutes of recording now, and I have to go jump back and I have to jump into editing now and get this released before midnight. So hopefully in another 3 hours time, sort of thing. There's lots I have to edit out. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on another update where I share some of my thoughts from a player who's transitioning from a pay-to-win player to a player who is, trying to not spend on this game. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep the series up for, until, day 30, at which point the updates will slow down a little bit more, but I will still keep the updates going. I feel like this is a good platform to sort of talk to you guys and share my thoughts and point of view on the game in general. So yeah, I don't know, maybe at some point when it's less relevant to my transition, I will change the name, but for the first 30 days, I'm sounding like an infomercial now, but money back guarantee. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and make sure to check out our Discord server. Link is in the video description down below. And if you have any sort of relevant questions or just wanted to share your piece of thought on any of the stuff that I was discussing, feel free to leave it as a comment in the comment section down below. With that being said, guys, this is MightyLeafy. This has been another episode of Road to Free to Play, and I thank you all sincerely for watching.